listening to Shut Up and Invest.
What's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of Shut Up and Invest. I got the co-pilot in the house, Jay Money. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, doing good, Kevin. What's going on, man? Good to see you again this week.
You know, on the grind.
On the grind all day, man. I've been in meetings all day. Just left the assisted living facility meeting with our guy, Jamie, who came on last week. So
Yeah, you guys got to hear that episode.
Yeah, make sure you guys listen to that.
One of the best ones so far.
Definitely was. We talked, we don't just talk about it on here. We talk about it, then we try to go out there and activate how to do it too. So we're looking at that. It was a really good meeting today.
Did they say they could do outside of Florida by any chance?
They did. Yep, they did. What they also do is if they can't do it for themselves as far as being an administrator to partner with you, they counsel, right? So they do consultations on how to get it up and going and kind of work hand in hand with you in different markets.
Coaching and consulting?
Yeah. My one partner, we're looking for PA. So, I mean, they're looking in the PA right now, so they can definitely do outside of Florida. It just depends on the state licensing and all that kind of stuff and if it makes sense or not. But definitely, guys, make sure you listen to that one with our buddy Jimmy Baker. He broke down the ALF, assisted living facilities, and that's definitely a way to supercharge your cash flow.
All right, so the challenge, the Shut Up and Invest challenge is how long is it going to take you in PA, Pennsylvania,
to get one going?
Let's give yourself what?
Throw it out. I mean, you challenged me. So
12 months.
Oh, okay. 12 months?
Yeah, okay.
No, I know. Let me think about that again.
I mean,
there's
obviously it depends licensing.
There's zoning, there's all kinds of stuff.
12 months to start the process.
That's not fair. Let's do 6 months.
Oh, okay. What's today's date?
Let's do July 17th, 2019.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to you December 31st, bro. Yeah, I was going to give you like 30 days left. All right, I like
Need
this
some
challenge.
pressure. Need some pressure.
Right,
what I got? Well, I'm sure he'll come up with some crazy thing I have to do if I don't.
Yeah, we'll talk about it
if
in
I
December.
don't make the challenge.
December show.
What we got going on today?
Today we got part 2 of the virtual wholesaling.
Got it.
So go back and listen to virtual wholesaling part 1, where we talk about how we acquire the property. Now we're going to talk about once you got the contract, how to unload it and make some money.
Got it. Definitely.
While you're
side.
not in the market whatsoever. Virtual 100%.
When we're not there at all.
Right, when you're not in the market whatsoever. All right, so we talked about, if you didn't hear the previous episode, we'll give you cliff notes so that you're not completely lost. But we talked about the phone call, how to generate the phone call, the conversation on the phone call, how to negotiate it, going to see the property, who do you send out? There are a couple different options. Mm-hmm. Take pictures. That's the most important part. Make sure that what they said over the phone matches the pictures essentially and what the person who you send out there takes a look at, just in case if they didn't mention a sinking roof. Now all of a sudden there's, a roof almost coming down. That changes the negotiation and the conversation. So we talked about all those things in the first episode. So now we're at the point that we got them to sign the contract. You either electronically send it to them so they could e-sign it, or you sent your boots on the ground over there to get it signed if they're not tech savvy.
Tech savvy, yeah. Definitely.
From that point forward, now you have the contract signed by Mrs. Jones, and you lock that property up, let's say, for $15,000. And we're in PA, Pennsylvania, for example.
Okay.
What's literally the next step after you get that contract signed?
Great question, because I see this question all the time. People go, I got a deal. Now what do I do, right? The very next thing I do is I forward that contract to my title company. That's the first thing I do.
The same title company you pretty much use for every single deal.
Yeah, in the city. I mean, my title company can range out, not just that city. So they can range out usually a few, an hour north or south, right? Mm-hmm. But that radius right there is the same title company every time.
Okay.
Right. I get the deal in hand, and the first thing I do is give it to the title company, right?
You send an email with the contract?
Yep. I get the contract.
What do you say in the email?
I'll just say, hey, here's a new title order for this property, 123 Main Street. Please rush title, right? I always request a rush title because we want to know what's going on with that property right away. The sellers don't always know if there could be a lien or a tax lien or a water bill or, who knows what's on that. Plus,
if they owe the roofer who did the roof for 2 years ago.
Yeah,
whatever it might be.
Any kind of lien or taxes or whatever, they really don't know. And lots of times we're taking on that property with the taxes because we're giving them a number, but assuming the taxes they owe, and they don't really know that number. They give you an estimate like $2,000. It could be like $4,000. They don't really know. So I want to get the title company to start working right away because title companies are busy. They're doing a lot of deals, and you don't want to wait till a week before close to say, "Hey, can you get this title order back? I need to close next week." They don't like that. So you want to get that to title company right away so that they can do what they're going to do. And lots of times we get a close. Sometimes these deals we think are very good, and we might put a close date in 10 days. I've closed deals that I sent a deal this morning. Title company has to close by next Tuesday, and today's Wednesday. So that's quick. It gets done, because they do rush my stuff. That's quick. As long as there's no other issues on it, we should be fine.
Right. Realistically, a title company wants at least 5 days.
Definitely.
That's kind of the window that they prefer to work in. But if you need something sooner, you better have a really good relationship with them or get ready to pay a nice little rush fee.
Yeah, I say your title company is your best friend. Like the girls that use my title company, I talk to them a lot. Like my wife knows them. I'm always on the phone, with Deanna or Tamara. She knows who they are. If it's in Pennsylvania, I'm on the phone with Lamar. We talk. So, you need to build that relationship with them because they're a very, very key component to your business, especially virtual. Anywhere it is, but especially virtual because, they also can do some things. I'm not there. They send notaries out to meet buyers and sellers, all kinds of things that they do for me when I'm in a different area. Yeah.
And I think having somebody that looks at it like you guys are partners, so both the title company and you really work together to get this deal closed and not just one person completely leave it in the other person's hand and say, well, it's your problem. You deal with it. Those aren't the relationships you want because a good title company will handle objections at the closing table for you.
They definitely do.
And you don't even need to get involved. That's how you know you got a really good title company.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, if it gets too big, if it's not, if it's something serious,
call, but
they get you on the phone and then you got to step in and remind people. Contract.
I had that last week. I got called up. Lady called. I had a deal closing. The seller was at the table, and there were taxes that she tried to say she wasn't going to pay. And so my title company called me, Jory. Hey, the seller's here, and this call happens a lot. Again, the closing table, things happen. So she said, "Hey, you want to talk to her?" I said, "Yes." So I had to go through and actually pull up the contract, pull it up with her over the phone, and show her. Look, it says it right there. We pay everything but the back taxes. She was able to see that and close. But if you have a title company that's not experienced with that stuff, they can blow a deal for you. You have to know how to handle that human element of being surprised like that.
Yeah. And at the closing table, a lot of people tend to get amnesia. What? No, I don't remember talking about that. I don't remember seeing that. Mm-hmm. Now, in this case, do you specifically remember talking and negotiating that part of the contract?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I say that every time because I say that at first. Now, there's times where we take it on because they say, no, this is my number and I'll just take it on. But I always clarify that at first. And then, in our contract, it's even bolded. Like we bold that point there so they see, we always pay, closing costs and both sides of the closing fee or title insurance fee. I always try to have the seller pay transfer taxes, property taxes, any liens, Transfer taxes is one that you always get a little bit of fight back, and I try to just say, hey, it's a tax. But a savvy seller or an investor, especially an investor, will say, I'm not paying transfer taxes. You pay that yourself. So when I talked to her and I pointed out to her and showed her the contract, she agreed and, knew we talked about it. But she tried to tell me straight up, like, you never told me that. And I'm like, pull the contract up, I'm not trying to be rude, but it's in the contract. We talked about this. This was the deal.
Right. So you got this deal in the contract. You send it to the title company right away for them to start doing title because you don't know
what's going on.
Mm-hmm. But technically, you also don't have a buyer for it yet.
I don't. So the very next step after that is I send the details of the property, right, with our Google Drive link with the pictures. Well, not even that. Our marketing director has that. I send an email with the details, the price, and this stuff to my marketing director. And then what he does is he lists it on our Carrot site right away, uploads the pictures there. Then he prepares our email marketing blast and our CRM, uploads the pictures there. So basically, he has a whole checklist of where he's going to market that property.
It goes on the website.
Goes
into the email campaign.
Then it goes on Facebook Marketplace. It goes on Instagram. It goes on Craigslist. It goes on Let Go. It goes on all these other sites, bigger pockets. It goes on the investor connected investor, right? He has a long list of about 10 sites that he blasted everywhere. That's his next step.
Mm-hmm. And then from there, you start fielding phone calls of interested buyers.
Yeah, let me go back though, before, because especially in the market I'm in right now, when that deal is accepted, I've already talked to 4 or 5 of my buyers who I know what they're looking for, and I call them
Your
first.
VIPs.
Yeah, like these are the guys that buy from me all the time. I know what they want. So before I even get that out to the title company or anybody, I call them first. All right, so let's go back before that, because as soon as the deal's accepted, I know it. I'm calling them like, hey, I got a deal. Here's the price. Let me know. And I'm trying to get them into that property the next day.
Because it'll avoid all that extra work.
Yeah, definitely.
And they want to be VIP. They want first look.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be able to say yes or no before the rest of the world sees it.
Yep. And when I'm evaluating those deals, I'm evaluating it knowing that I have that. Usually it's based off of what they're buying. And then if none of them want it, and it still makes sense to me, we'll still make it happen. But usually one of them, will probably want it. Or you get the facts where they say they want it, then they don't want it. Then you're stuck with it. You got to move it.
Let's talk about that. Your VIP sees it, says, oh, I love this one. This one's for me. Now, the reason why I really want to point this out is because a common mistake, especially if this is a VIP that's bought from you, a lot of times you start to get comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And technically in the beginning, when someone says they want to buy it from you, until they don't sign contract and they don't put escrow,
mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean a thing.
And even my VIPs know, okay, you want it, I'm going to see your contract right now. I need the EMD within 24 hours. Like they know that.
The EMD is the escrow money deposit. Basically, it's the deposit. You got to put some money down. Non-refundable.
Non-refundable. Yep.
So that you can't back out. And if you do back out, you lose the deposit.
Definitely. Because again, we always say investors aren't loyal. Like they can be your good friends and your best clients, but they're not loyal. So you got to watch out for that. And I'll give you an example. This is this week. Monday was a bad day for me in real estate. I lost like 3 deals. Like it was like one of those days was just like, man, I had all this stuff about to close, title issue here, right? A one deal. The VIP said he wanted on Friday, wanted the deal. And I actually called him. I found out some information about the house on Saturday that the city was on it about some stuff, right? And I could have just not left it. I could have left it alone. He would have never known. But I called him because, again, this is a VIP that buys from me. I want to make sure that I'm doing him right, all right, relationships. I called him and said, hey, just found out the city has this house on the demo list, right? The foundation, they said is shot. He's like, well, we were over there. My guy was over there. He saw nothing. They still don't really see anything bad, but the city's making a point out of this house. The seller's in California. She hasn't responded to the city at all. They're mad. They're going to make a point about it. So he comes back and says, yeah, I can't do that. Right. So this is a deal that he said he wanted. I got locked up. He knew he wanted it. And when the contract goes over, he actually signed the contract. Before he sent the EMD, he said he couldn't do it. Right. So I could have just been like, okay, the deal's dead, whatever, back out. But I went back to the seller, renegotiated to the seller with the information I got, which was true information. The numbers just didn't work anymore because the city's going to demo this house if we don't fix all this stuff, and it costs more. So I was able to negotiate with the seller, get her down. Went back to my buyer, got his price down. We actually got the EMD in the contract yesterday.
Same guy?
Same guy. Yeah.
The one that originally said no, now because it's at a better price.
Same. Yep.
He'll deal with the issue.
Yeah. So Monday could have been, again, we talk about the emotions, so I could have been like crap, but when he backed out, I knew the reason why. My next step was, okay, let me go renegotiate. Solve it. I asked him, what is the number that makes sense to you that you can buy it? I got that number, so I could have some, power to renegotiate with the seller with. And we were able to say the deal.
Nice.
That's actually one that has to close next week that I sent the title company today.
Yeah. Rush. They love that. Now, you found out that he was willing to buy it, and the EMD, the escrow, the money deposit, came in what day?
The next day.
So Tuesday.
So
Monday, tough
actually
day.
Today. Yesterday, he came back to me. Actually, last night, he came back to me like 10 p.m. and said, hey, we can do it at this price. So at 10 p.m., I went downstairs, typed up the contract, and sent it to him via dot loop. And he signed it and sent it back to me right away. And he forwarded me the email he sent to his admin saying, forward Joy the EMD for this property, earnest deposit for this property.
Which came in today.
Right.
So Monday, bad day. Wednesday, today, you got your deposit. Back in the game.
Monday, bad day. Tuesday is like figure it out day.
Right. I point that out because there's so many people that like go into the black hole on a Monday.
They do.
And then they don't realize that they could have easily had that deal.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to do exactly what you just described. All right, cool. So you call your VIPs. If they agree, they need to put the EMD, the escrow, the money deposit. If they don't bite on it, or if they're thinking about it, you go into
I go to my marketing director.
execution, distribution.
Exactly, yeah. And then one thing that I say is if my VIP wants it and they give me even if they say he wants it, I'm going to give them like a day or two before I market that, because that's out of respect to them. They buy a lot. And when the deal gets marketed and it's out there, it loses value.
I would only say that, though, is if you truly have a relationship and a respect factor, because there's too many people out there that will tell you, I want this. And if you don't know them up from down and you waste 2 days, that's 40.
I totally agree. And when I say VIP, I mean, these are guys that I'm doing multiple deals with a month. Who I've probably been doing deals with for probably, 5-6 years, who actually we partner on deals together. Yeah. So it's only like 4 or 5 guys that are on that list.
You trust
the guy that I sell a house to every other month. No. But there's like 4 or 5 guys where I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you a day or two.
Right. I agree with that. All right. So then
it goes
website, Craigslist, emails, text messages, boom. It's all over the place. Now you start getting the flood of phone calls from interested buyers.
Definitely. Yep. We send our email out. It's on social media. So, the marketplace can get crazy. Facebook Marketplace is flooded. It doesn't go to me. It goes to my, marketing director. Because one thing is you will get a ton of leads, but a lot of leads are not good leads. It's just like, hey, is this available? That's all you get all day long. You're like, yes. I'd probably say about 5% of them are actually good leads, but we've gotten some good buyers from there. But now the phone's coming in, and this is the tricky part. Depending on if the property is vacant or occupied, right? It's very tricky. If it's vacant, you're usually good, but even nowadays, a lot of sellers won't let you put a key box on the house if it's vacant, right? So we kind of have the conversation with the seller that, look, we're buying this house. We have partners, we have money lenders, we have insurance companies, we have contractors. We need to get through this house, multiple times. We'll let you know in advance. We'll talk to you, but we need to get through this house so that we can close on time and smoothly. That's my, my way of preparing them for the buyers that have to walk through.
So that's good. I like that a lot right there.
I have that.
Setting that proper expectation. So this seller who thinks they're in contract with you, they're going to be paranoid if there's a bunch of people coming in the house to quote unquote buy the house.
Exactly.
So you're setting the proper expectation when you're locking up that contract in the beginning with your motivated seller that, hey, I got a big team that needs to come take a look at this property. Lenders, contractors,
insurance guys,
my insurance guys.
Yeah, we got a roofer, we got a plumber, we got
a landscape guy.
We got different contractors coming through. So, if they don't agree with that, because you get nowadays you get some sellers who are like, no, take it or leave it. And honestly, unless I know that deal's a deal, I'll just walk away, because it's too hard to sell a deal if you can't get buyers through it. Even my VIP guys still want to walk the house once.
Yeah. I've bought properties sight unseen, but that's because, man, with my eyes closed, I know the numbers make sense.
Yeah. And
I know I could rip that house apart and still make money.
Especially in Hialeah or somewhere, your backyard, numbers the back of your head.
Yeah. If not, like right now, a Tampa deal, I got to have somebody out there to be able to know the area, see what's up.
So yeah, we're prepping them for that. You have to coach these sellers. They don't know the process, right? An investor does, but a lot of these sellers are not. They're homeowners and they don't know the process. So you have to prep them and then see how easy it's going to be. Because if it's going to be hard to get people through, I have to get a number that makes sense where I know I can sell it, like you said.
Yeah. I do business with a few guys that they try to set it up all on one day at a one time and try to have everybody there. So they'll promote it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and say Tuesday at 11, we're showing this. And they're just setting up as many people as possible to show up at 11. Everybody walks through the property at once, and then they're taking the best offer then.
Yeah, we've done that. If it's a vacant house, we've actually, advertised like an open house type situation, which is basically what that is. It's an open house.
Yeah. It's much easier when it's vacant.
It's way, way more easier when it's vacant. It's become really hard lately on houses that have been occupied, to the point where my price is going to probably be, my offer is going to be a lot less if it's occupied. Again, unless it's that home run deal, because it's just been really hard to get people through the property,
Yeah. Okay. So you'll book your handful of appointments, the painter, the landscaper, this or that. And they're all basically interested buyers.
Yeah, they're all buyers.
Right. And then you're walking them. How are you keeping, since you're not there personally, how are you keeping them from talking to the person that's there?
They have to go with whoever my guy is on the ground there. Right. We talked about the Harrisburg deal where we had a situation where the guy couldn't make it. They have to go, again, unless it's my handful of VIPs who understand, that they're the roofer, or they're the plumber. They have to go with, my guy on the ground there. And
then you prep them to just say, hey, listen.
And I tell them, look.
Sensitive tenants.
Yeah. Don't talk to the seller about this or that. Like, just walk through the house. Give me a call when you're done. Like, give me a call when you're done. Don't bring up price. You got to tell them. And if people don't know, then you probably don't want them going through there anyway.
Right. Yeah, good expectation is to say, hey, listen, these are tenants. They're not happy about the sale. So all questions go through us. Just take a look at the property. Try not to say too much to them. And then we could talk about anything that you want as long as you want.
Definitely.
Now, you walk them through the property as many times, 5, 6, 7, 8 different buyers. At what point are you, let's say you get an offer after the first 2 buyers, but you still got 4 or 5 other people that want to see the property. In that situation, how tempted are you to just lock it up and get that first offer? Or are you rolling the dice and waiting till you get all your appointments done before you are accepting an offer?
I go back to the old realtor in me, the highest and best, right? I call those other buyers. Hey, I got an offer that just came in. I know you want to see it on Friday. It's Tuesday. You probably want to go see it tomorrow, because I don't know if we're going to wait that long. Then I'm going back to that other buyer who put the offer in. I got 4 people going through the house tomorrow, even if they're not. You might want to raise your offer. This is your highest and best offer, right? So I'm negotiating off those buyers. If I got 4 people lined up in the next 2 days that I think have interest in the house, I'm going to tell that buyer, and I got your offer, we're going to probably wait a couple days, 1 or 2 days to accept it.
Right. Devil's advocate. You've pumped it out. You've promoted it, and you're not getting many people that are interested in it. Now what?
If that offer comes in and it's in a reasonable range, I'm probably going to take it.
And if no one's biting and you got no appointments, what's that telling you about the deal and the property?
It tells you it's overpriced, right? Especially today. If you market a property, right, and within the first couple 3 or 4 days, you have no interest, no activity, nothing.
It's not a deal.
It's not a deal. Your price is wrong, right? And again, in our contract, everyone should have a contract with a due diligence period, inspection clause period. That first 5 days is when you should be evaluating if that deal is a deal. And don't wait 3 weeks or 4. Like that first 5 days, if it's not a deal, have a conversation with the seller. Again, the sellers are motivated for the most part. There's nothing wrong with talking to them and saying, hey, look, I sent my contractor through, because we've sent guys through probably, or we haven't, and saying the numbers, it just doesn't work. We evaluated it just based off the comps and some of the stuff that came up. It doesn't work. We can do it at this price, But if you don't have any bites at all within 3 or 4 days, that definitely is not a deal. They're not going to come down the road.
Right.
Not at that price.
Okay, so you accept an offer. Now you got your original contract with the seller.
Yep.
That went to the title company right when you got it. Now you have a buyer who wants to buy it. Is it the same contract? And is it a different piece of paper? Is it a completely separate contract? How are you handling that?
We have a different contract. We have our assignment of contract, which is the contract we use for our buyers. It's a completely different contract that basically tells the buyer, they're entering contract with me, with my company, to purchase the property. And then it outlines the buyer's buying it as is, non-refundable EMD, what their responsibility as far as the buyer's paying all these closing costs. Because again, those closing costs are being paid, and my contract are passed off to the buyer, right? So it outlines all that stuff for them. And then basically, it's a 1-page contract that we get. We get that signed by them, and then we hand it. They sign that, we pass it off to the title company. And then now the title company has their assignment contract, and then that's when they start working up the HUD or the closing statement.
Going deeper into their job.
Yeah.
Is the assignment fee outlined in that piece of paper to the buyer?
It is not.
It is not.
It is not. Just the purchase price. Whatever their price is their price. And, the title company works off that. But I don't tell my buyer, I'm making 10 grand. I don't tell my buyer, hey, look, here's my original contract. Somebody asked me the other day, well, do they see your original contract? Because your assignment contract basically states that the buyer's assignment contract states that whatever my contract is with the seller, the buyer assumes those terms, right? So I had someone ask me like a week ago, it's a realtor. Well, shouldn't I see your initial contract? I'm like, no, you're buying it as is. This is your price. You have to pay closing costs. You like it or either you take it or you're not.
Right.
That's pretty much how it is.
Yeah, you got to talk to your legal counsel, who's going to be doing your titles, whoever's going to be doing your attorney. And this assignment of contract, you guys got to be very clear on how you're going to handle it and what's going to be on there. Because I've seen assignment of contracts that do have the price on there. And it's, hey, yeah, you want the deal? I'm making $12,000 on it. And if you don't want it, somebody else does.
And I feel, that basically what it boils down to. Even if you have a problem, let's say a buyer gets to the closing and they say, oh, you're making 20 grand, right? If they have a problem with it, then, that's on the buyer because honestly, they shouldn't care about what you're making. That deal was a deal when they put on the contract.
Right.
So.
The other strategy that I've seen is it's an assignment of the contract that doesn't have the number, but gets that signed, gets the non-refundable escrow deposit done because the price is the price, which is your point and which is what your contract does. So if I'm buying it at $240,000, even though you got it at $220,000, you're making 20 grand on this assignment. But I don't need to know that right in the beginning. I'm signing the initial agreement at $240,000. And then after the deposit's done, then the assignment, the addendum comes in that shows the $20,000. Then at that point, if you back out, it doesn't matter because terms have not changed from what you agreed to. And when you put your earnest earnest money down, your escrow, basically, who cares how much I'm making?
Exactly.
You're still buying it at $240,000, which a day ago or 4 hours ago or 3 days ago, you didn't have any problem with it and you thought it was a great deal. Now because you're
seeing what I'm seeing
that I'm making 20 grand, you're trying to back out. No problem. You could back out, but that $5,000
goes to me.
In escrow, I'm keeping because I have not changed my end of the agreement.
The deal was still the deal that they thought was a deal before they saw that.
Right.
Exactly. Another key thing that does come up a lot is the closing cost portion. So a lot of my deals might be the buyer might say, look, I'll pay $135 all in, right? That's their number. So it doesn't matter what the closing cost or stuff is. They're going to pay $135, not a penny more. And then, so I know that, okay, $135 minus whatever the closing costs are is what I want to walk away with. I actually like that model more because there's no surprises when the buyer goes to close. They know it's $135, right? Because sometimes the buyer will go to close and transfer taxes might be $1,200, closing fee $300. There might be another $2,000 on the HUD that they don't like, So I try to at least tell them up front, a range of what the closing costs would be, or just say, hey, what's your number all in? Okay, boom, we got a deal.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So then now you take that assignment of contract, you get it signed, and you send that to the title company. They finish their job.
Title company gets that. They'll then ask for the buyer's entity, like LLC docs, because now they're basically transferring title from you as the buyer, me as the buyer, to the person you sold it to as the buyer, right? They'll transfer all that, get all the information for that. And when that's going on, again, what we said before, make sure you're in communication with your seller throughout this whole process. Don't let it go days without talking to the seller because they don't know what's going on. They're sitting there waiting for the house to close.
Typically, is your buyer buying these cash? Are they...
In a wholesale deal, they're always cash. Or private money, because private money you can put... I don't know. I don't think you can put too much stuff on a closing statement.
Private money, we're doing wholesale deals all day.
But private money... You can do wholesale deals because, again, this usually time is of the essence, so it needs to move kind of quick.
Yeah, the traditional lending, the conventionals, the FHA, the VA loans, that's hard to do a wholesale deal in.
It is.
Because they got their guidelines, they're trying to mitigate risk, they're trying not to get sued by someone that says, hey, this was a weird situation here, I wasn't told and properly disclosed. So the traditional banks are just going ultra conservative. The way they look at it is like there's so many normal purchase agreements
out there
that let's not worry about these discounted deals and these investment deals, that's not our wheelhouse. We'll go ahead and just stick with the traditional buyers that are, living in the property or whatnot.
And also, if you're wholesaling it, there's a lot of variables that can go wrong with traditional mortgage. Even if they have a pre-approval letter, you know that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's still
they lose their
subject
job.
to.
Man, I got a deal right now that guy's got him fired twice.
During the process?
Contract. You're buying a property. He works in the kitchen, right?
Okay.
He works in different restaurants' kitchen. And this contract's the never-ending contract. We're going on 60 days now. And it's because he keeps losing his job. But then he quickly picks up another kitchen job. So it's like, no, I got a better job. Okay.
And with a seller, with a distressed seller, that's going to cause a lot of issues. So I know for me, it's got to be cash, or private financing, where I know it's going to close, because I can't have a seller say, yeah, we're closing at this date, and then 2 days before close, you back out.
Right.
I have to close that deal now, because I know, one thing we don't do is have a deal that we tie up and we try, pretty much, unless there's something crazy on the seller side, we're going to get that deal closed. Either we're going to buy it or we're going to sell it.
Right. Worst case scenario, if you do have a deal fall apart because that person never comes to the table with their money, they put, let's say, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 in deposit. That should be more, or at least enough of what you put in deposit, so that it evens out. You're the seller who's selling it to you keeps your deposit, but you, if you're smart, collected a bigger deposit. So let's say if I put $1,000 deposit or $500 deposit with my seller who's selling it to me, then the buyer who's going to buy it from me, I'm going to try to get at least $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. So if this deal falls apart and I got to pay that seller that deposit that I gave him, I still make money. Worst case scenario, if I don't close on it.
Definitely. Good point. Always have the deposit from your buyer higher than what you gave to the seller.
Ideally. Worst case scenario, the exact same amount. And I don't know why you wouldn't jam them up for a little bit more deposit, but let's just say worst case scenario, if you can't sell it, you need to call me. I'll let you know. Private money also, let me tell you right now, like there's a lot of people out there promoting themselves as private lenders, and then they give you the, oh, I'm sorry, a couple of days before closing. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't like this deal.
There is, man. Like I was gonna say that too. There's so many, you see there's so many people who are basically advertising for another lender, a private money lender, but they're advertising that they are a private money lender. They don't really know the terms, the guidelines, and then it falls apart. So be careful, who you think you're doing a deal with that can loan money, or who your buyers are.
Right. And at the end of the day, relationships again.
Definitely. No
Once you get your dream team, dude, stick to your dream team. Stop shopping your title company and your private lender and your inspector and your contractors to save $100. I see that so many times. I haven't shopped a title
company in probably 8 years. Yeah. I've been with my title company for probably the last 8 years,
Yeah. Oh, that private lender said they'll do it for 2 points instead of 3 points. I get it. A whole percent is $3,000 savings or $2,000 saving or $1,000 saving. But do you know them, and are they going to come through? Are you willing to gamble?
Yeah.
Because you're basically trying to go the cheap route, and maybe they do come through. But if they don't, you lost that deal. And if this person's come through, you're not willing to pay for reliability relationship. Now, I'm not saying get raped.
Yeah, no, but that's a great point. Build relationships and then honor those relationships, right? Honor them. As long as they don't do you wrong, honor them.
Brother, how many investors, I was like, listen, man, hook me up on this deal because we're going to do a lot of business together. And then let's just say you go and you hook them up. And then you find out they did 2 more deals and they did one other one with that same story somewhere else and one other with that same story somewhere else. No problem. When you come back around.
Because they will be back.
You're going to get hammered because that little story of we're going to do a lot of business together.
Yeah, treat people how you want to be treated, man. Like, I'm telling you right now, people can come into real estate, make a lot of money quick, right? But they don't always last. Few last. And the ones who last, I guarantee you, is because of the team around them and the relationships they've made with the people around them, and then they take care of each other. You need good people in this business.
Look, if you're not able to do a deal because you're penny pinching over a title company's $300 or 1% here or whatever it is that really a deal?
No, it's not.
So you got to think about it from that perspective. Definitely make sure your numbers are on point. Definitely try to get a good deal. But trust me, man, don't be jumping ship to every single title company, every contractor, every inspector, and gambling that each one of them are always going to come through. Once you get a good one, ride with it.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
I think we're good, man.
I think we're good. Definitely. I hope that, that's part 2. That's the disposition side, selling the deal. But I think if you guys can follow those steps, we've kind of broken down from A to Z exactly how it works in the virtual wholesale. Every market's different. Every company's different. Again, tweak it to what fits you best. But those are some basic guidelines of what
and you could find these title companies, these realtors that could be the boots on the ground, or these contractors or these people, literally by just getting on the phone, on LinkedIn, on social media, having conversations, FaceTime, Skype, build a relationship. Look, there's no difference between us meeting in your office or at Starbucks or us FaceTiming
the same
or
thing.
Talking on the phone. Like at this point, we're in a global economy.
You probably get more done when you're doing it over the phone or over Zoom.
Of course, because you could talk to 5 different people
exactly
versus going to have 5 different meetings. But I mean, we're like I said, we're in a global economy, so doing nationwide business,
it's easy. And if you're in a market that's difficult, you're like, man, I can't, look and research a market. Sometimes it's not even that far away. There's usually a market within that hour and a half drive that's probably not as difficult as where you're at, where a lot of those investors where you're at are going to because they can't find deals either.
Yeah. We're about to launch Central Florida. We're signing paperwork to start our marketing campaign now with the Mathis twins. Go back and listen to that episode. Run some PPC there. And we'll let you know how that goes.
Definitely.
All right.
And that's good, man.
We're out.
Another episode. Appreciate it. Hey, thank you once again for listening to Shut Up and Invest. If you guys are motivated at the thought of continuing your real estate journey with us, then visit shutupandinvest.com. There you can join our community and take advantage of more free resources. And don't forget, please like, comment, and subscribe to this podcast so you're first to hear our new content every week. Most importantly, get active and don't forget to shut up and invest.